The Big Short tells the story of a group of three financial groups that profit from the financial crisis of 2008. The movie presents the protagonists as the heroes that fought against the evil banks and corporations and avenged all the people that lost something during the crisis. But are they really as good as the movie presents to us? Or are they just as bad as those who they seem to rally against? A good way to see if the actions of the protagonists were good or bad is by recurring to one of the experts about ethics, Kant. In his The Metaphysics of Morals, Kant argues that when it comes to morality, the motivation behind each and every single one of your actions is what matters when deciding if the action was good or evil. So, let's analyze each individual financial group in order to get to their motivation. Case 1. Dr. Michael J. Burry and Sion Capital. The movie starts when Dr. Michael J. Burry starts identifying some pattern that will indicate that something wrong is going on with the housing market. Using that information, Dr. Burry goes to the bank in order to short sell the mortgage bonds of the banks. Short selling, in a nutshell, is better explained by the next example. Imagine that your friend has a car, and you find out that your local auto dealer is having a 50% discount next week. So, you borrowed your friend's car, you sell it full price to the auto dealer, then return 1 week later to buy the car back and give it back to your friend. Your profit is that difference between the full price of the car at what you sold it and that 50% discount when you bought it back. In real life, this is complicated because nobody really can predict when the market is going up, down, or sideways. Returning to Burry, unlike your typical Wall Street Hollywood movie protagonist like Jordan Belfort and his lavish way of living in The Wolf of Wall Street, or Gordon Gekko in that other Wall Street movie, Burry is presented to us as a socially awkward person that has a lot of trouble with human relationships.
Social interactions are awkward for me, and even when I try to compliment, it comes out wrong. You have a very nice haircut. Did you do it yourself?
This could indicate that at the moment of making decisions, Burry doesn't think about the human implications of his actions, and only focuses on which decisions are better for the fund. Not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't understand them. He's just doing his job. The problem here is that Burry knew that he would only win money after the percentage of people that default to the payment of their mortgages went all the way up to 8%. At that level of default, the housing market will crash and create a ripple effect that will provoke a financial crisis. It might be true that subprime mortgages were abused by bankers, but they were created in order to provide houses for the poor. There was a good intention behind them. In the case of the CDs created by Burry, the only purpose that they served was to profit from the crisis, and they also had a hand on making the crisis worse. Let's go then with the adorable duo of Charlie and Jamie, led by the veteran Ben Rickard. Unlike the other two groups of investors, short selling is their primal activity. It's what made their small garage band firm grow exponentially. They had interiorized these transactions so much that they only see the opportunity to become rich. This is the reason why they are so worried about trying to investigate if nobody really knows what's going on or if everybody's just trying to scam them. As they are the youngest of the group and lack a big success, they get carried away by the idea of becoming rich, so much so that they forget what's at stake. That's when Ben comes in.
You have any idea what you just did?
Oh, come on, we just made the deal of our lifetimes. We should celebrate.
You just bet against the American economy.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means,
Oh!
if we're right, people lose homes, people lose jobs, people lose retirement savings, people lose pensions. You know what I hate about banking? It reduces people to numbers. Here's a number, every 1% unemployment goes up, 40,000 people die. Did you know that?
We're left then with who many perceive is the moral touchstone of the movie, Mark Baum. In his case, the motives that push him into action are rather personal. During a couple of flashbacks, the movie tells us that Mark's brother kills himself after not being able to pay his debts with the banks. So when Jared Bennett comes into his office in order to sell some CDs, he doesn't see them as a chance to become rich, but as an opportunity to get revenge from the banks. It's through Mark's character that the movie explores and gets deep into the different factors that led to the financial crisis. On the trip to Florida that he makes, he realizes that a lot of people is starting to lose their jobs, abandon their houses, and he finds out that the people behind giving the credit barely even check who is asking for it. Mark always acts from this very strong sense of morality. and after witnessing the mechanics of a fraudulent system, he's led to believe that he has the moral high ground. However, it's in the last part of the movie when he starts to realize that perhaps he's not on the right side of the story. When he confronts one of the workers of a rating agency for selling AAA ratings, the agent tells him that he's a hypocrite, because he's also winning money from all that mess with his CDs. He also finds out that the bonds that he has been betting against are from the company that in part owns his fund. He realizes that he has been fighting against himself all the time, because, whether he likes it or not, he's also part of a system that he claims to hate.
Really? Is that the angle you're taking? So now anyone who has a boss
just work for yourselves,
can't be held responsible for doing shitty and illegal things. What are you for?
No, I am not for Mr. Baum. I am not. No. And I wonder what your incentives might be. Is it maybe in your best interest to have the ratings change? Is it, perhaps? How many credit default swaps do you own?
Doesn't make me wrong.
Ignorance is one of the biggest themes of the movie. It's ignorance what led thousands of people into signing mortgages that they will never be able to pay. The protagonists are constantly trying to figure out if they're dealing with a completely fraudulent system, or if everyone inside the system is ignorant about what's going on and the consequences of their actions. It's not until the end of the film that Mark figures out that banks are aware of their actions, but simply didn't care because they knew that the government will have to bail them out. In fact, the only people in the entire movie that seem to know what they were doing are the protagonists. Their intention was to make money out of the crisis. Going back to Kant, he explains something called the categorical imperative, which establishes that you should only act in a way that your actions could turn into a universal law. If the universal law was, take advantage of bad things that happen to other people, we will end up with the same sense of morality that caused the crisis in the first place. In the end, they're not heroes, they're just hypocrites. Thanks for watching.